One, two, 1, 2. Can y'all hear me? Got the world is yours. True self, CAJ. Hold on, let me see. Y'all know this small writing over here. Got it. Even though we just on the, we ain't get all fancy today. Cause I gotta get outside. Today is, hold on. Yeah, but today is, the weather's quite nice out there. And then plus just in general, got a lot of things to handle. Y'all know this is the season. This is the season where we gotta get things together. We gotta get things together for the show and prove. Phil G, West Coast Wise. Yeah, basically, yeah, we on early today because we're not gonna be able to do later. The weather's too nice out there. I gotta get outside. You know what I'm saying? Do my duty. So, you know, we on the show and prove mission right now. You know what I'm saying? We just handled the insurance for the rally. So all our events that we do back there, the boxing, the basketball, whatever other events, those are still on. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we got that for the show and proof. So we straight. You know, we got to get the food there for the show and prove. We got to get the yard ready. We got to get the fish in the pond. So, you know, right now I got things to do, you know. And this year, you know, it's a little bit, because last year that's what happened. Is that it was this season where I had all the stuff to handle. And then right when after I got it handled, that's when I got hit by the car. So then I didn't get my season last year, you know. So that's one of the reasons why, I got to be outside right now. That's how we doing. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we came on because see, like I said, you know, there's times when I could still come on and just do this. See, I got so used to doing the whole production. You know, with the double screens and all of that. But right now we just coming right out the app, man. So, you know, look, I saw a dude yesterday that inspired this one. You know, I saw a guy yesterday. And see, that's one of the reasons why, look, new people do have to come and teach, man. Because, see, you know, I'm jaded. Where, you know, I come out the back, and as soon as I see this brother, right? I see this brother, and I'm like, yo, you know, I could tell he's not, I could tell that I don't want to get in the conversation with him, right? So I say peace and I walk out, right? So I go to the store, whatever. When I come back, the brother who was sitting there with him, right? As soon as he walks out, I tell him like, yeah, you know, the brother he seemed a little bit off to me. Right. So the brother said, yeah, you know, he just was here saying how, you know, he hasn't been in this building since the early 80s. You see, I could tell because there's a particular look that happens when the people just faded away. Right? I'm talking about as opposed, right, to when the person made a conscious decision. Like when the person in their heart and their mind, right, they did what's best for them, right? You became, or you know, began to manifest who you truly are, right? There's a certain look with that. Right? With a person who they may have never even truly seen the sciences that we was teaching. They never really. And then you got the look of those that faded away. Like they faded away. Like you walk past somebody and you saw them with a universal flag on, and it just jogged your memory. Like, oh snap, man! I used to be that. Like I used to know my lessons. I used to come to the parliaments. You see, look, I can see the look on them. That's why, like I said, look, see, everybody just, even the devil get a chance to clean themselves up. Right? So I hate to, not give people a chance just based on how they look. Right? You can say, look, you take people on face value. But I've been practicing this for a long time, man. And he had that look where it's like, look, as he's looking at the pictures, right? As he's looking at the pictures, anybody that's been to the school, right? When you first come in, you got all the older brothers right there in the front. And they looking at the pictures like, yeah, man, I know the guy right there. Like, oh, snap, that's the guy. See, that's the easiest thing that can happen. That's the easiest thing that can happen, because see what happens, right? You got a lot of people in New York, at least, right? That's walking around with a nickname that they got from when they had the knowledge. Because see, they never made that decision. See what I'm saying? Like, for instance, right? We make a decision, we come into the knowledge, right? If you've been in here any length of time, this happened to you, right? Where somebody hasn't seen you in a couple weeks, couple months. And they come up and they call you by your honorable name. Right? You say, whoa, man, it's not my name no more. Back then, you know what I'm saying? Look, that's the government name. That's the devil's name, man. Got a righteous name, man. My name is Darkim, man. If you're not gonna call me that, don't call me. You see, how many of them make the other decision, right? Okay, look, don't call me Darkim no more. How many times has that happened? The person, they decide they're gonna go their way, when they come to the parliament, right, to the rally in whatever area you in, and say, look, I'm falling victim right here, right now. You see what I'm saying? Even people who make that decision, they don't come back and tell us. We just see them one day with a bow tie on, or burgundy. Or we see them with a Bible, or whatever it is that they decide to go on and do. But at the end of the day, with both things, that's what happens. You just end up doing some other stuff, right? To where the balance of your time and energy, right, is on that other stuff. You see, that's the part where, like I said, man, look, when you're giving people the knowledge, this is not salvation. Like it's not no overarching president of the 5%. Pope of the 5%. Mystery God that we can pray to, right? So whatever is the signs, whatever we got to deal with, right? That's what we got to deal with. Qasim Shabazz, District 120. So what I'm saying is that a person being righteous, right? Look, for me, like one of the first places it started, right, is you got to remain conscious of things. The bar was the sign. See what I mean? Like what I'm saying is that look, you got people that they don't remain conscious. They're not conscious of their safety and security because the police is out there. So you doing things that you wouldn't do in a world where you wasn't dependent on somebody or you didn't think it was somebody there responsible for your safety. So you got to remain conscious of what you got to do in those times. So for me, right, being a kid, one of the first places I got to remain conscious is when I go in the store. I'm buying cookies and cakes and shit. Like look, West Coast Wise always ask me, right? Why do I always, whenever I'm talking about the wrong foods, I always bring up the Twinkie? Because the Twinkie was, the hostess rack was not right exact. So see, just in that simple way, right? For me to stand on my square of what I say I'm about, I got to remain conscious. I don't just see like if we talking about just if some food is good or bad, right? Before that, I'm just whatever my parents make, whatever my parents make, this is obviously food. You said folks loving these hams and turkeys for Easter. I didn't know people eat ham on Easter. What's the significance of ham on Easter? Shit, I know their culture based on what they're buying to eat. I mean, look, that's one of the ways. See, like those cultural, uh, Christmas, Easter, these various things, President's Day, right? This is how they educate, you know what I'm saying, and indoctrinate. So see, look, that's one of the things that happens to a person. So you not around other people, right? That's dealing with this culture, right? And you being around family, right? And family is Christian, right? For a lot of us, our family is Christian. So they're celebrating all of this stuff, and we slowly start drifting back into that. See, especially for the people who, you know, like, see, I had the knowledge for twice as long, over almost 3 times as long as I was at 85%. So there's some things, right, that's associated with the 85 world that I don't even recall. the wordsmith, the wordsmith, you one person that every time I think you faded away, you actually did not. But I'm saying are you good? Yeah, I'm live right now because later on I gotta be in the streets. I gotta so that's what we doing now. We haven't I decided that sometimes we gotta break these down. So Wise Prince said, did I ever celebrate Easter or did I hunt for eggs because I wanted candy? See, here's the thing. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that those concepts and ideas was burned into you. To where look, when Easter comes up, right, we all think of eggs. Why? That's the only thing that matters. They could have just gave you some eggs. See, that's how I know that those is the building blocks of indoctrination. You know what I'm saying? Like if they could sell you the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus, then they could sell you the long white con. The long white con with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So you wide open for that if they can sell you all this stuff. And see, that's the thing. Back in the day, let's say for Easter, right? I used to help my aunt paint the eggs. So I knew it wasn't no Easter Bunny, and I knew where the eggs was at. I never was in that. Christmas, they never taught me about Santa Claus at my house. So see, by the time they bring me to the church and they trying to get me to believe the long white con, I'm not falling for it as easy. They put money in the eggs. See, they lined you up. See, this is what I'm saying. Now look at that. Look at how much. See what you're saying? This is how much they do daily. These are the things that they doing daily, right? Now, how much you doing daily? Look, forget about the world. For your own kids gotta live in this world. These is all the tripwires that they putting out there, right? For your kids that look, because we say the woman's supposed to raise them up to 6 and then you give them to the man, right? The father. But look, the parents is raising them up to 6 and give them over to the devil in the education system. And I'm not saying, education, I'm not against education. I'm just saying acknowledge what you're doing and acknowledge what they doing. And acknowledge where you sending them, right? And, give them the mindset, man, that can protect them in those environments. Right? Because they continuing daily. Putting money in the eggs. Look, what's supposed to happen when your kids see the other kids getting money in the eggs? That's what that's for. Alfonso Pender, welcome to the channel, said, check out the Machiavelli album cover. Is there a new Machiavelli album cover, or are you talking about, because I'm Power Wisdom. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm down with the YNs and shit. I got the abs and all that, but I'm Power Wisdom. So I know about Machiavelli. Is there something in particular? Is there something in particular you want me to see on there? Whoa, West Coast Wise, what is this? Was this back when you was in Vegas? West Coast Wise said, we eventually moved on to the plastic egg so we could get candy. Also, adults started to do Easter hunts with liquor. Hold up, stop everything, stop everything, stop the lie. Stop the lie. We need to know, we need some details here. We need some details here on this here with this. Grown ass people, you saying grown ass people is going around and where's this? I know, because look, a lot of Easter egg hunts just happen at the church. So that's and we had ones that was just at people's yard or whatever, but a lot of them happened at the church. So I'm wondering. Okay, so you talking about the original Machiavelli cover? All right, so is there something in particular that you want me to see on the cover? Because I mean, I saw it before. Antediluvian Part 2. Yeah, I think. Look, even in the context of my projects, yeah, Antediluvian King is highly underrated. But I'm gonna tell you what I think happened with that. It came out in the pandemic, man. Like I think it came out and then the pandemic came like right then, G. So it was, everything just went. So I didn't get a chance to really do a lot of things that I was supposed to do with Antediluvian. But look, the producer from Antediluvian is coming back to America soon. I talked to him the other day. So Part 2 might be you said, how can we direct Kayla Young? Kayla Young that's actually that's his brother name. Well, I don't know what his name is now. One time his name was Javon. But it's yeah, he switches around. All right, it's still Divine, yeah. So yeah, this is crazy, man. So grown people is doing the Easter egg hunt, and look, how old are these people? Like I can't. Cause look, what I'm saying, right, is when you reach a certain age, it's like, look, if there's liquor in the yard, let's just we doing all this. What we running around for? if there's liquor in the yard, put some in my cup. What am I running around? And before I do that, right, I'm gonna go to the store, get me a bottle, and laugh at y'all running around the yard doing an Easter egg hunt, grown ass people. You said the cross caught my attention, but I didn't recall everything about the cover. I mean, Alfonso Pinto, see, it's just, this is an interactive listening. And so this is the first time you came on or whatever. So, I'm not honing in on you, right? But, I mean, it helps me to kind of navigate things when, I know what the point is. So you wanted me to see the album, to see it cross? Because I also, I spent about 11 years in the Christian church before it was about 10 or 11 years. Let's say 5 to 6 years, because you can't count from, raw birth, but so I know what the cross looks like too. So I want to introduce Sheila to some true and living earths so she can stop hanging with Bill Powers. She even be hanging around colored women. I gave her the righteous name, Aisha. Liquor and pinatas. Yeah, see, look, I don't play that much. I think I think that's just this is just things that people do that you have a little fun or whatever, get a little activity in. I guess it's that, but it just that sounds crazy to me. Grown people doing an Easter egg hunt. But what's this right here? I mean, you said you wanna introduce this woman to some true and living earth so she can stop hanging with Bill Powers, right? But look, you know, okay, that's good. I recently picked myself up, lost 50 pounds, started studying every day and writing. So I feel 1,000 times better. Sounds 1,000 times better. He said, mind you, this is when I'm young. I haven't seen it in like 20 years. So these people from your generation. So you saying 20 years ago, so these people when they understanding that seconds. And they running around looking for eggs with liquor nips in it. You said you taught her math and alphabet and make her go through math every day. See, let me tell you something. Women got to choose to be 85%. I mean, to be 5% too. Nah, it's not me. It's these people, man. That's what you doing at Easter egg hunt. You must be at your right. Listen, see, there's certain things. There's certain things like I said, they didn't let me play the Easter egg hunt because, like I said, I was painting the eggs and hiding them with my aunt. So they usually like, yeah, nah, yeah, this, you take a couple of eggs, man. Go ahead, man. I saw them wrapping the gifts and putting them under the tree. So who knows? So you saying, so Alfonso Pender, okay, so you gave me a reason to check it out. You said that on the Machiavelli album cover, that Tupac has a cross with a universal flag on top of it. Now look, I'm gonna warn you, Alfonso Pender, if I look at this and it's nothing even similar or close to that, right? You know, let's just say you're not off on a good foot on this channel. But I'm gonna check it out. You know, I was never a huge Tupac fan like that. So you know, I had never noticed this, but you got an 8-pointed star there, but that's not our flag. So you gotta remember remember it's supposed to be a star that the three kings followed to find Jesus. I can't remember exactly what the star is. Like it's supposed to be the North Star or whatever. But that's what this is. At least that's what it appears to be to me. This is Jesus. This is Jesus Christ symbology. Not they ain't got to do with us. But yeah, matter of fact, I'm getting a little too, because like I said, I gotta hit the street. So we're gonna go ahead and start winding this one down. I know it's only been quick, but look, it beats a blank. It beats a blank. So We got any other questions? Any last questions there before we go ahead and wind this one down? Get up out of here. Shit, you miss. Well, look, with these shorter ones, we probably we could make a few more installments. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, we gotta try and get in touch with Goldmine. Today is Goldmine's born day. Happy born day to the guy. You know what I mean? And then it's been rough. Like the last couple of weeks, that's been another reason I ain't been able to come on. We had a couple of memorials. Just went to El San yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing. But so I guess that's about it. I'm gonna go ahead, man. We only had a couple people come in, but Alfonso Pender seems new. So do the each one, teach one. Hit the like button. Join the channel. Devon, that might happen, but right now I got a couple things. I'm doing before that. Right now, the next thing is really Corpus Christi. That's the next one. And then there's a couple more, but yet to be named and all that type of stuff. So in the meantime, between time, I'm gonna sign off and say peace, and we'll make it back on here tomorrow to liven it up once again.